That was a statement of intent, if ever there was one. That's been in the top 50. Won the title in Austin 2 years ago. And a very good spring that year in 2024. Won in Austin, made quarters of Indian Wells, the best period in her career. But wins have been a little hard to come by in the subsequent period.
Yeah, never easy to follow up a breakthrough year. Beat her first top 10 player there during that spring.
I was out here about 2 hours ago, warming up. I watched pretty closely. It was typically intense, as it always is with her. Focused very much on every single ball.
Yeah, just still looking for that rhythm on serve, Iga Swiatek. If you have watched her enough, you will notice that sometimes the two arms are just not quite synchronized in the beginning of tournaments.
What an impressive start. A player that's had a very good week last week has picked up seemingly where she left off in the qualifying.
Yeah, very decisive hitting from Yuan, Yue and Renee. How does the serve look on Iga Swiatek? Just looked a little disjointed from here, from our perspective behind the court in this first game.
Yeah, and usually, Petko, this is the end you want to serve from, because you have often a little downhill and a little bit with the wind behind you. But the serve, I mean, the motion looks good. But with Iga, it's also a little bit of nerves. Right there, you saw the top of the frame. Didn't really hit that serve very cleanly. So for me, not the start that the world number 2 would want, that's for sure.
Here's the win predictor. Understandably, heavily swinging towards the pole. Is it fair to say, Petko, the serve is the one shot that she has the least faith in, would you say, of all the tools that she has at her disposal?
Yeah, sometimes the forehand can go. That's, for me, maybe one of the most bizarre ground strokes in tennis, because when she plays well, it's by far the biggest weapon in women's tennis, that forehand. But when somebody manages to rush her into that wing, it can go off as well. This has been one thing Wim Fissette has been working on with Iga Swiatek, for her to change up return positions according to the opponent's serve. She used to be quite stubborn in her preferred return position. Now they are working on being a bit more flexible.
Yes, coming out swinging here.
15.
Forehand looking very good for Yuan. It is a little bit of an unorthodox technique there. Let's see how it holds up through the match, but when she has a bit of time, watch out.
Yeah, it's the thing that I noticed the most. Yuan has quite a big backswing on that forehand, so Iga's going to want to do to her what Yuan is going to want to do to Iga, which is rush the forehand. But right now, she is in well control of this match.
It's interesting, I was actually looking through her results closely last year, the Chinese, and obviously when you just look at the record, it doesn't look great. But if you look at it a little closer, she was 3-12 in deciding set matches last year. Now, obviously she lost the majority of them, but it does go to show it wasn't always that far away. Obviously, you want to win those matches, but at the same time, she wasn't being blown away every week.
And isn't that interesting in tennis that the difference between a third set won and third set lost, is that last bit of belief that you need to have, and that comes with wins. So you need those wins to have the belief, but you need the belief to get the wins.
Yeah.
Make it make sense.
And it's amazing, Petko, isn't it, how often we recount a story of a title run, and we go back and we go, oh, she was 5-1 down in the third that week in the first round, and then she went on to win the tournament. Now, we say that all the time, and it's amazing if you can just get through a couple of those matches, as you say, doors can open.
Well, and Renee will remember very clearly when Angie Kerber won here, saved the match point. When Caroline Wozniacki won here, saved match points.
Oh, that's a familiar face.
That's a millionaire.
I wonder if he's been perusing the Sydney property market, because he said that was what he was going to do, wasn't it?
Of course, that's Jordan Smith, who won the $1 million chance. He hasn't stopped smiling since he did it.
Good for him. Comes across as a super nice guy. That's where that little bit of extra shape on the ball. It's tough to judge, isn't it? Because it looked like she just thought it was going long. And then just suddenly that little dip.
Yeah, she was right there. You can see it here.
40, 30.
I'm not sure that was the cleanest of returns, but it was an effective one.
Very effective. Swiatek did the right thing, tried to find the body and jam Yuan, who stands very close. You can see it here. But that's the difficulty with the body serve. If it just goes off 1 centimeter to the left or the right, it hits the perfect strike zone for the opponent.
Yes.
And she is seeing the ball very, very well, Yuan. And you oftentimes see that with players who have won a bunch of matches, come through qualifying.
Yeah, and she looks super composed, Petko. She doesn't look like she's breathing heavy, and that's sometimes a sign of someone being very nervous. Clearly all those matches under her belt is helping her right now.
It stayed a little low. Wasn't comfortable for Swiatek. What a start this would be. Chance for a double break. Oh, yes. Didn't look on. Well, that is some recovery.
Yes.
Beautifully done. This is my favorite forehand of hers, when she opens the court, cross court, with that height and rotation. And you see Yuan has to run back to cover the other side.
Advantage, Swiatek.
Makes the recovery. Keeps it to just the one break, but the challenge has been laid down early here by the Chinese qualifier. What the last few days for Swiatek have looked like, Pekka? How many balls would she have been hitting in the last 48 hours? It is a case of just taking your foot off the gas. What does that look like for someone like Iga?
So I think that every player is very individual in their preparation, but I think that she likes to hit a lot of balls prior, so in the week before, and then she will try and cut it down in the day or day and a half before the first match, because players like Swiatek, like Sabalenka, like Goff, they expect themselves to win these tournaments, and they have to physically prepare as if they are going to be here for the next 2 weeks, competing against the best in the world.
Time.
Well, Cicak's voice sounded a bit off there. Renee, does Maria look sick to you?
Listen, the umpires have a lot of work to do, so you never know.
Not as much as they used to, though, Renee.
That's true. That's true. That is true. I mean, really, they just sit up there now and call the score. But no stress on them whatsoever.
For those who didn't hear Maria Cicak's, the chair umpire's voice just broke a little in announcing the score.
Seasoned pro.
Yes.
Here's Maria. That's one of the differences at the majors. I was actually talking to James Giathavong a few weeks ago about the difference between the majors and the regular tour. And one of the differences he told me in terms of the serve clock at the majors was that the umpire starts the clock on the serve clock at their discretion at the majors, whereas in the regular tour, it's pretty much automatic. That's a great hit.
30 了。
Very secure so far.
You can see here those flat ground strokes. They really go into the strike zone of Yuan. This is what she loves and can do all day. Hip height.
Oh.
Yeah, I think sometimes with Swiatek, she just tries to hit way too close to the line when she's nervous. Like in the beginning of a match, I would like to see her crush that particular return down the middle of the court and stress her opponent by doing that rather than trying to hit a winner right away off the return.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah, that is much better. Did what Renee just mentioned, hit the ball, the first ball, the return with a lot more margin, and then you could see the change of rhythm. The first one Yuan handled well, but already the second one extracted an unforced error. So Swiatek is slowly finding the game plan and her rhythm here.
It's interesting how often I see that. That second serve was only 115 Ks, and you could almost feel Swiatek waiting for it, couldn't you? Then by the time it got to her, there was no pace attached to it. Oh my goodness. That's a heck of an outfit. It's impressive.
It's funny, Petko and I were talking about the $1 million point challenge, and we thought Iga was the most sort of prepared for the pros, and she looked pretty relaxed. She almost has to play a lot more like that when she plays matches, because she's so tense when she plays.
Actually listened to the podcast she did with Caroline Garcia a few weeks ago, and Caroline does a great job. She knows the players a lot, and it was interesting because Iga actually said the one thing she struggled with in her youth was focusing. She really struggled as a youngster to focus a lot, which is sort of the antithesis of where she's at right now, on the outside at least. Tunnel vision.
Swiatek.
Beginning to settle and beginning to impose her game, but remains a break behind here in this round 1 match on the Rod Laver Arena.
Time.
Beautiful spot, the Grand Slam Oval. Just on the other side of the grounds. We've had 59,000 fans in today. Another record. I feel like I could just copy and paste that. First Monday day session record, and these fans very fortunate to have got their hands on tickets for tonight. Of course, Novak Djokovic will be headlining the men's action. He takes on Pedro Martinez.
Look. All.
That is perfect timing here for Iga Swiatek with that kick serve. You mentioned it earlier, Nick. If you let it bounce up above your shoulder at that one point where the ball has no pace on it, it's really hard to control. But she caught it just before. And I wonder what Renee thinks, but I don't mind that miss. I think this is the type of forehand that over the course of the fortnight will get her the wins against the best in the world. Renee, maybe after this point, I would love you to chime in.
Yeah, I don't mind it, Petko. I just, the previous point, when she missed that forehand by a long way, I just thought her footwork wasn't organised enough. And so in these moments, certainly sometimes the anxiety gets too eager. She's got to bring the margins in a little bit, but keep hitting it.
And there's the break. She has got herself back level.
3.
Break this
Games
down
of-
for us, Petko.
Yeah, let's take a look at this beautiful shot that sometimes can be an Achilles heel. You see the quite extreme grip. So if she plays the likes of a Sabalenka or somebody who can really get into that shot flat and hard, she can have trouble to get under the ball. But when she is on, when her footwork is sharp, when she's playing well, she gets under the ball. And that grip gives her the height, gives her the rotation and the heaviness. Yeah, that's beautifully done by Iga Swiatek, and I've practiced with Swiatek a bunch of times when she was still a teenager, and already then her forehand felt so heavy that I had to take a step or two back behind the baseline to be able to control it, because if you don't have your full body weight behind it, you will lose control of it.
And yet, Petko, it was that forehand that some people thought might be a deterrent for her winning Wimbledon, because a lot of people suggested that forehand's not going to really hold up on the grass, but it did. So how did she manage that last summer? And obviously there were other aspects of her game that helped, but that was fairly remarkable how she transformed her form on grass that summer.
She did, she really did. And actually it helped her that she lost quite early, quote unquote, at the French Open. Semi-finals is early for Iga Swiatek. Would be very late for me. But she had time to go to Mallorca with her team and really put in the practice hours on the grass. They shortened the swing. She just turned her upper body back. Didn't have that big up and down swing that we sometimes see on her forehand. And for a champ like her, that's all it takes to get you a little Wimbledon crown.
And may I say, the grass has changed a tremendous amount over the last 10 to 20 years. It's nowhere near as fast and low bouncing as it used to be. It's almost like a hard court now. And particularly by the second week, it's even harder and bounces higher. And I think that helped Iga a lot.
Yeah, we enjoyed an Australian summer, didn't we, in London last year?
It was unusually warm.
There were a few people walking around with red noses, Petko.
Like, I don't believe that.
30, 14.
Problems here again. Third double already this evening. Not to be. Drifts wide.
New balls, please.
And she has been able to break again. Continues to keep applying the pressure here on the world number 2, who finds herself a break behind. So something very similar last night with Aryna Sabalenka, who just struggled in the opening set against an opponent who she hadn't played before, in fairness. A little bit untidy for a while before she settled in.
Time.
5 seeds have fallen on the women's draw so far. Sophia Kenin was the latest, beaten by Peyton Stearns. One of the, I guess, the most high-profile, Emma Navarro. Surprised by that today, Petko?
She did make the quarters here last year and the year before.
You lost to Magdalenette, who you may remember, I think made the semis here, Lynette, didn't she? 3 or 4 years ago?
She did, yes. That was one of the first rounds that was circled on the women's side in terms of upset alert, so I wouldn't say too surprised. That is a tough first round to have. Great serve here, and I think people sometimes underestimate how difficult it is, even for the top players, even for the big seeds, to play this first round at a Grand Slam tournament, particularly for the women in the best-of-3 format. They don't have so much time. We've changed our honeymoon plans for you, Iga. Nice.
No pressure.
I hope it doesn't mean she has to go with them.
They might like that, Petko.
True. She has a job to do here over the next 2 weeks.
Oh, what a good change-up. Kick serve really paying dividends.
Yuan playing as well as she's played in the qualifying matches. So solid, using the forehand as a weapon. So far it's holding up really nicely.
Game Yuan.
The disconsolate look after that forehand leaped
Yuan
wide.
leads 5 games to 3.
And again, I mean, that's a massive point, and I just don't understand why you have to go for the absolute sideline there. The middle is good enough.
And take a look at this, Renee. Yuan, how well is she hitting her forehand, you ask? Well, just as well as the world number 2, the same average topspin forehand speed for both players today. That's very impressive.
And Pekko, I just feel like Yuan has handled the serve better. Serving much better, getting it in more, winning a higher percentage of the first serve, and that's really been the difference in this match. 1 break of serve.
Just insinuating that one got up a little bit higher on her than she had reckoned. Is the ball pretty flat? Couldn't quite drag it down. Confidence building hold, and a quick one as well. She requires a break though. Requires it
Yuan leads
urgently to
5
stay
games to 4.
in this opening set. The clouds came in around 2 o'clock today and rolled in and took away a little bit of the heat out of the day. First part was absolutely scorching. Mercury set to rise as well over the next few days, which is going to add to the physical challenges.
Time.
In 2019, I've just been informed, was the last time that Swiatek lost a set in the opening round of a major. So it's been 6 years. But that opportunity right now is at the feet of the Chinese qualifier.
Well, and this is the real
Love
test,
it.
isn't it, for Yuan? The forehand has been holding up beautifully. Great weapon. She's been able to push Swiatek around with it. But will it hold up right now, serving for the set against the world #2?
Well, that forehand missed by about 30 feet. So if you're Iga Swiatek, you know she's tight.
Maybe the longest rally of the set so far. This lady had the last laugh again.
15.
15 shots of pure power and precision, and Yuan, what a way to back up that first point loss. Some mental fortitude here in this rally.
Fifteen. 13.
Got a hold of the return and stayed on the front
14.
foot thereafter. Dominating the court position. 2 break points. Oh, it's dropped in.
Swiatek.
What a magnificent way to break for the world #2.
The fans love it, and this is the tough ask against the best in the
5
world. Yuan
games
Yue
on.
has done absolutely nothing wrong in this game, except that very first point where she missed the forehand. But other than that, she's played a perfect game. And Iga Swiatek's mind just shines through and plays 3 perfect points to take the break.
Looking to take control of this opening set, something she hasn't been able to do thus far.
And you know, guys, one thing that I have noticed through this set is Iga not happy with her skirt, to be honest. I know that sounds weird, but she's kind of been tinkering at it, and she's used to having a little bit more room in there, and she's been tucking it up. That's not something we're used to. This is the first match she would have played in this outfit.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. Some players try their kit out in practice, but many don't. And then this is the first time you wear it.
I mean, have you seen her tuck her skirt like this much? I haven't.
And this is where she's best at. If you give her a neutral ball through the center of the court where she can use her forehand in this manner, chances are you will be toast on the other end.
So breaking a hold, and for the first time she is able to get herself in front.
Swiatek leads 6-5.
Looking to try and shut the gates here on this opening set. Not quite sure what she was asking for there.
Well, I think she's indicating something to her team, and they're indicating that they maybe don't have it. Maybe it's the skirt. I'm not kidding you. I just think that might be part of the problem. Daria, her sports psychologist, has run off. She might be the only one to be able to get into the locker room, maybe. She's gone. We'll see what she comes back with.
Time.
Beautiful walk down that river. If you get out of Flinders Street to come to Melbourne Park, just to really soak up the atmosphere. There was plenty of that when I walked in here this morning. Two forehands produced with the same pace, but not with the same style. She hits the ball that much flatter as the Chinese.
Stop.
And it's emphasised by those numbers. Ironically, the forehand she just hit actually had a bit more shape to it, didn't it?
Yeah, she was on the back foot, had to put a bit of height on it, but yeah, here we have the numbers to emphasize what you just said, Nick. Sometimes difficult to see from the TV screen, but Swiatek's forehand, a different type of forehand than Yuan's. Many roads lead to Rome.
Yeah, Coco Gauff and Iga Swiatek, the top two in the women's game when it comes to spin rates on the forehand. Gauff was a winner earlier today in straight sets. Composed finish. And this set will have to be settled by the breaker.
6 games all. Tiebreak.
Very different contest from the one these two played out just 3 months ago in Beijing. Swiatek winning 11-3 that afternoon.
I have to say, guys, that balance on the first forehand that Iga hit there was probably the best one I've seen today.
Yeah, just a lot better footwork here in the last 10-15 minutes or so for Swiatek. You can just sense the tension in her muscles melting away, slowly finding herself and her groove.
It's the first second serve that she's hit on that side has gone to the forehand. All the others have been just kicked into the backhand wing. The change up maybe just caught Iga by surprise.
Swiatek.
Quite sure what she was trying to achieve with that. She's obviously changed the height, give her a different ball, but it's judgment. not been afraid to do that this evening.
Definitely not. She had a clear game plan from the get-go when it came to second serves off Swiatek. Has been absolutely ruthless on them. And she sees the ball well. This has become a very good contest here.
Swiatek.
Swiatek used a little bit less pace on that and more height and shape and slight breeze behind her back right now. So that's a really good way to help you get that ball higher, so use the breeze to get it out of the hitting zone of her opponent.
Rio.
So they'll switch ends at parity. Once again, either player's been able to find a way to break free.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm feeling a lot of tension out here. I mean, the crowd, it's sort of like a little bit of a mixed bag who to cheer for. And certainly both players are taking a good old time here at the changeover. I mean, this is where you got to get on with it a little bit quicker.
Just the one top 10 win so far in her career, as Petko mentioned. That was against her fellow countrywoman, Cain. Of course, not here this year, sadly, due to injury.
Well done, and Swiatek did something very smart here. Beginning at the first serve, she took a huge step to the right, closed the wide serve for Yuan there. And that is Yuan's preferred serve, the one out wide. So she missed the first one, and Swiatek goes after the second.
The look of exasperation after that particular error. 21 unforced errors officially by our number. Far outweighing the winner count so far.
Guys, I'm so happy they have electronic line calling, because about 4 of those balls were on the back of the line.
Stern defence for sure from the pole. Got a hold of it, clubbed the return, and stayed firmly on top in the rally.
Swiatek.
The set almost has hit the hour mark. Been quite the tussle. Swiatek, though, with 2 set points.
Six, 5. Swiatek.
Finds a way in the end, does Iga Swiatek. But the qualifier has proved quite the handful here. 58 minutes required. It's the pole that has her first set of the week in the bag. How much say do players get in outfits? I mean, obviously, some like to design their own, but how does that work for a brand like On? How much in advance are they putting that outfit out there for Iga? How does that work, Petko?
Well, it depends, but most brands actually give out their clothing in Australia and the Grand Slams a couple of days before, so you don't actually have that much time to practice in them.
15.
I don't know how On does it in particular. Maybe Renee has some more information, but generally speaking, brands give out the new collection at the Grand Slam tournament.
I'm just wondering what she was wearing at the United Cup.
She was wearing the old collection from last year.
There you go.
Clever and cute finish.
30, 50.
One thing's for sure, the landscape of tennis apparel has changed substantially, hasn't it? In the last 10 years, there's a whole lot more brands involved. The athleisure world has crept in. Sponsored players. Different marketplace.
Thirty-one. Right. Person. 30, 40.
Now that's well played from Iga Swiatek. Mixing in a higher forehand with a bit of shape on it, gets the short ball and then goes after it. And the impact of that fast ball is so much more effective on the other side if you have changed it up beforehand.
Yes.
That was impressive hitting from both players. I mean, even Iga after this match, guys, just sort of bent over her knees and was almost exhausted. Great playing from Yuan there.
It's a good recovery, though.
Advantage, Swiatek.
8 of 18 second serve points won now for the Chinese.
Iga Swiatek.
So well to get the feet out to the ball and punish the return. And it's got a break at the start of the second.
Well, and that's the thing with these top champions. Once they have a little bit of a lead, they are great front runners. They swing even more freely at the ball. And Renee said it, and she's so right. Yuan is playing a fantastic match here. She's really showing why she has that title you mentioned, Nick, in Austin, why she was in the top 50 before. And if she continues to play this well, she will be back.
Yeah, I agree, guys. I mean, what I'm seeing tonight is a player that absolutely should be inside the top 50. I mean, this has been a really, really good match from her. And I really do believe that the reason she didn't win the first set is maybe she just didn't believe in herself enough. And that's often, as you know, Petko, the difference between the greats and the very good players and the good players.
Only one top 10 win to her name so far, but there was a little chat with the chair umpire. Asked to call the physiotherapist for her lower back as Yuan Yue.
Let's.
Just wanted to get a head around what exactly occurred there. Very nearly tracked it down.
15.
Just able to take enough pace out of the volley.
Ready, love.
Yu's at the ready.
Love.
Well, she did to get the depth of that return. One thing we did see was a slight shift. And she talked about it post-Wimbledon of the serve directions from Iga, didn't we? She was quite open about being able to switch it up a little bit compared to the patterns she had previously.
Swiatek.
Yeah, this is a great serve, and Nick, that is such a good point you're making, because she worked so hard on getting more Ks per hour on her serve. So when she did manage to do that, she sort of got predictable in trying to hit that 180, 177 kilometers per hour serve. And women players have such good eyes and hand-eye coordination. They are on these quick ones. They take a step back and it's no problem for them. But once you start to change it up a bit, like that last slice short in the court, a little bit of a kick serve, that's what throws them off. And it's a similar case in the baseline rallies. We just saw it when Swiatek, or Yuan for that matter, she has tried to change it up a few times as well. When you're trying to when you change the rhythm up, when you make it slow, the next fast-paced shot is going to have that much more of an impact on the other side.
Missteps as quite as drastic as that. Focus on the serve, but of course Iga's ability to break so frequently has been a big feature of her game. You look back last season at the return games won, only Goff won more as a percentage of return games won, and it wasn't by a whole lot on the women's tour. Iga at 47% of return games won last season. Goff just a fraction higher.
Yeah, just a bit of footwork coordination lacking there for Yuan. A few frames hit. She's played a lot of matches, keep in mind, coming through qualifying. This is her 4th match already in this week, last week, this Monday.
We knew what you mean, Pekka.
Some week.
Yeah.
Some week of the year.
At some time in January. It's impeccable length.
New balls,
And
please.
pressing and pushing
Swiatek
the
leads.
qualifier
3 games
into an
to none.
awkward part of the court. It's looking ominous right now. Swiatek is breaking free. It's 3-love. As we suspected, the 27-year-old is just getting herself checked out here. Anything obvious that you saw movement-wise, inhibited at all? Or?
No, just in that very last game at 3-0 and Swiatek broke once more. I did feel like the coordination was a little bit off in that fine footwork, the adjustment footwork. She hit a few frames getting her lower back treated, but if I see correctly, that's Belinda, the physiotherapist, and Yue is in very good hands with Belinda. And she's particularly good with spine, lower back, upper back kind of things.
Okay, you sound like you speak from experience.
Yeah, I do.
How many physios on site roughly this week today? Obviously a substantial
That's a good
number through.
question. I would say probably Renee probably would know better, maybe 12 to 18, I would say.
What are you saying? Because I'm in the training room more than you were?
Yes, because you're always in the training room.
Yeah, I would say probably like 8 to 10.
Across both men and women, guys? Or
Both women? No, just in the
just the
women's
women's?
locker room.
So
yeah.
double that total.
Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Yuan
Probably
is now
about 8
receiving
would be the
medical
most.
timeout.
And then, of course, you have the doctors that come on to the court as well, just in case they need to give them any sort of medicine, pills or whatever. And so you saw the doctor come on, and then they listen to what's happening, and then the physio takes over from now on. And this is smart from Iga, hitting some serves, keeping herself warm. I think it was the mistake that Venus Williams made last night, honestly, guys. When she won that first set, she sat while her opponent went off the court. She just didn't move around and didn't keep her body moving. And I think, you know, with the scoreline the way it is with Iga, she just wants to keep the train on the tracks.
Yeah, what a match that was, as Renee says, arguably the pick of the first round. Of course, Venus was up 4-love in the third set. Just couldn't close it out. Remarkable. For set. So getting the information. The winner here, incidentally, if Swiatek does come through, will meet Marie Buzkova, who won 2 and 5 today against Renata Zarazua, the Mexican.
Yeah, and interestingly, we could just catch the last bit of that coaching from Wim Fissette, but I did get to talk to Iga at the United Cup. I asked her what they worked on in the off-season. She said, well, it wasn't so long because she played WTA Finals and she played Billie Jean King Cup. But she said they focused on a few technical aspects and just wanted to clean out a few things that get lost over the course of competing 11 months out of the year. unusual tennis, the sport.
Uh-huh.
Where it starts January 1st and ends somewhere in the middle of November, and then
Yes.
it just repeats.
Yeah, and round we go again.
We've got 30 seconds left in their medical timeout. I love that they put the clock up there now.
Yeah, I like that too. That's a really great innovation here. Right, you can now follow the medical timeouts or breaks or whatever they are.
Time.
Petko, most intense play you've seen since Steffi Graf, Iga Swiatek.
Yes, I wanted to say that earlier and then I for some reason forgot, but for me, Iga at her best is the only player that ever reminded me of Steffi Graf.
Agreed.
In terms of intensity and the way she can start trucking over her opponent when she has a lead, when she starts to front run. But here we are back.
Steffi's other half, of course, Andre Agassi here this week. Got the rackets out at the weekend, didn't he? Played in the exhibition. Although I did hear it wasn't actually his rackets because they didn't arrive from Dubai.
15.
So he actually played with John McEnroe's racket. That EXO he played on, I think it was Saturday night.
Pretty sure Andre could use any racket and still hit it in the middle of the strings.
Fair point.
Fifty, 13. Video.
Third ace. The world number 2.
Thirty, 14.
Battering the second serve return again. Taking the ball so early. Swiatek simply smothered for time. Opportunity for a break to recover one of them.
Yes.
Yeah, Iga, but when you do your kick serve, make sure it's really on the backhand side. Come on, big kick serve. On.
Seen that reaction
Advantage.
on the
Yuan.
Chinese.
Yeah, and a bit of a sort of panicked look from Iga over to her group there, which is very unusual at this juncture of the match, being up a set and 3 love.
Yes.
It's never good when the box all look at each other like, was that to you or me? What's happening here?
Advantage. Yuan.
Impeccable length from Yue.
Yeah, really picked it up here again in terms of energy levels, Yuan, but you always know when Swiatek is doubting herself when she starts running around her forehands to play backhands from the center of the court.
Game Yuan.
Slightly unconvincing again off that two-hand side, and
Swiatek leads 3-1.
it's 3-1.
Again here on that break point, Swiatek running around her forehand to use the backhand from the center of the court. When you have watched Swiatek as much as we have, those are the little signs that you can pick up on when nerves start to come in, sometimes for no apparent reason.
Ball.
Love 15.
An abundance of Chinese players at the top of the game right now. I think there's 3 I was looking inside the top 100. Of course, Cain, as we say, absent this year. Certainly a big part of the tour calendar, though, on the WTA side. Now that swing in Asia.
15.
6 weeks, isn't it, post the US Open? Played over in the Far East.
Certainly looks like a little treatment has helped her get a little more pop on the serve as well. So kudos to Belinda from the WTA training staff.
She is very good.
You miss that, don't you, Petko?
I do.
Yeah.
Fun fact, I never went back to a physio since I retired 3 years ago. No
Really?
massage, nothing.
Okay.
She's cheap.
Again, fantastic serve here from Yuan. And sometimes a good treatment can get you a bit more movement, a bit more rotation. Here we have Belinda. And every centimeter will get you a few more kilometers per hour.
Game Yuan.
Couple of games in a row, and she has eaten into the lead here. Iga Swiatek currently owns the pole, still up a set and a break though.
Time.
Mentioned, of course, a little earlier on, the fact that she is looking to add her name to the history books here this year by completing the set of majors and join some very elite and established company in this sport. 7 women have achieved the career Grand Slam in singles. Only one of them, what we just mentioned, of course, did the Golden Slam by winning all 4 and the gold in 1 year. Steffi Graf, your fellow countrywoman. 1988, Steffi achieved that. Of course, Serena won the gold, but not in 1 year. Martina, Chris Evert, Billie Jean King, Maria Sharapova. All, of course, icons in this game. Never forget Maria when she won the French, and that journey she went on from struggling to move on clay. You must have seen that firsthand. That was a real challenge for her, wasn't it, to overcome? Ended up winning it twice, I think.
Yeah, the irony of it all.
Yeah.
That was the one major that she ended up winning twice.
She told a lovely story recently as well, did Sharapova, about her mindset and an indication in her early part of her career when I think she'd made the quarters of the French for the first time. I don't know exactly how old she was, very early on in her career. She went to Birmingham in England and it was raining outside, and she said, I got to Birmingham and I put the television on and the final was on at Roland Garros. And she was due to play the lead-in event to Wimbledon at Edgbaston Priory. And she said, that should be me. Her mindset was, what am I doing here? I want to be right there. That sort of mindset that took her to producing the goods.
Well, and somebody else who's producing the goods here since that medical timeout is Yue. What a pickup in energy and quality.
He has won 12 out of 18 points since having the medical timeout.
Closer.
Maybe she's trying to mix up the second serve where she's going, because it's so predictable that she hits this kicker. But this was not a solid serve to the forehand. It was definitely off the frame. So just all of a sudden, Iga has lost complete control of this match.
Yes.
And she says, no, I haven't. That was a great serve, but the prior second serve was totally shanked.
It's won every single point when she's made the first serve, going out wide on the ad side this evening.
Advantage, Swiatek.
Oh, what a bullet.
Yes.
It had some fizz to it.
Yeah, it reminds me of the very first phase of this match when Yuan was swinging so freely at the ball and with maybe that little bit of an injury and the first set lost, she is now just letting it rip.
Advantage, Swiatek.
Ball.
Game Swiatek.
It was a clean hit, wasn't it? And that was one of the best strikes for a while of that ever reliable two-hander.
Swiatek leads 4 games to 2.
And we are sitting right behind that backhand miss of Yuan in those little boxes there. And while we see here how close she is inside the baseline, how early she takes the ball right here. Those were those return winners. But we could see her being pushed back by that backhand cross court from Swiatek.
15.
And definitely hitting much faster serves, Renee, right, than she was maybe even in the first set.
No question. And ball toss was so far ahead of her there. I mean, she had to go for a big one on that, but certainly a lot looser than she was at the beginning of this set.
The average first serve speed, guys, for this match, 163 Ks. That previous first serve, not that one, the one on the prior point, was 177. A couple in the 180s as well, of late.
And you have to put that down to just getting a little bit of physio, because there's no question that that's what was hindering her at the start of that second set. She lost that opening service game. I was like, I need to get that loosened up.
You've just been told by Will in Bolt 6 that the average first serve since the medical timeout's 177, so it's up 15 Ks in the last 15 minutes.
Ready all. That's 40.
Couple of misses here, though, that could be fatal to her chances. Become accustomed to seeing Swiatek roll through early rounds. It was the case very much here last year. So it's been a much tougher opening night.
And over
Yes.
again, when Swiatek doesn't find enough depth on that forehand cross-court, it's Yue who takes over and really punishes those shorter ones. Changing up the height is very good, but you need to have the depth to accompany it. Otherwise, your opponent will punish you.
Advantage, Yuan.
You can see why he's got his head down. That is, in coaching terms, a really bad mistake off that return.
Yes.
She made up for it on that one.
Well, that's the thing with Iga Swiatek, right? She makes decisions that every coach would shake their heads at, but then she hits these incredible shots where you're like, okay, her stubbornness was warranted in a way. There's a reason why she is a Grand Slam champion and why she has won so much and was the world #1. And this shot is the perfect example. You would usually tell her in a semi-defensive position to play that cross court, but then you've seen her hit that down the line winner so many times. And it's difficult to get through. 5 minutes and 30 seconds now already on this game.
This game will be extended even further.
Yes.
Stretched her out, had to take the hand off, and
Advantage.
was in a defensive
Swiatek.
position again. They're happy. They may well go home happy as well.
Yes.
Clinical,
Advantage, Swiatek.
Some low-hanging fruit. Swiatek very happy to capitalize on.
Yes.
No wonder they continue to try and encourage their player, because Swiatek remains just a fraction unconvincing out here. He's, of course, as we keep saying, a first-round match, so
Advantage,
much to be
Yuan.
expected, although her history would suggest that she's settled pretty quickly into a lot of these majors, isn't she? Been a master of taking opponents apart so often in the opening week of the Grand Slams. That's gone wide as well, failing to shake the Chinese qualifier off here. And Iga Swiatek still has some road to travel
Swiatek leads
in order to
4
reach
games
round
to
2.
2. Time.
Night skies drawing in. The second day of the Australian Open, of course, hot on the heels of opening week, which was another roaring success here. Talked about just how much the United Cup took out of her as well emotionally. Obviously being on the bench, being part of a team, you're playing a match and then you're involved in a match, aren't you? Hubie Hurkacz, of course, played so well for his country.
Well, and anybody who saw Iga at that deciding mixed doubles in the end in the final saw how much it meant to her. And Poland had been so close twice in the final. Hurkacz had held match point against Alexander Zverev 2 years ago. It meant so much to them.
It's funny that you say that, guys, because I hadn't seen Iga for months, and I saw her at the one-point slam, and I said hi to her after not seeing her for months, and she said, "We finally won United Cup." It was the first thing out of her mouth, so it really did mean a lot to her.
We know, and she's spoken, of course, about the pride of playing for her country. Her father, of course, an Olympian. No doubt that LA in a couple of years will be high on the agenda, having failed to win the gold in Paris.
I know this miss looks bad, but I honestly, for Iga's and for her game and for the sustainability of her game, I think as long as she keeps running around her backhand to hit forehands from the center of the court, she will eventually find her rhythm there. And it's something that is her unique selling point, the forehand from the center of the court, with that shape, with that height that opens the court up. And if she takes that away from her by going around and hitting backhands, she becomes sort of like everybody else on the tour that can hit the ball very hard.
Clung on for dear life. Swiatek had more than a few opportunities to get in there, didn't she? Didn't need to in the end, though.
She didn't need to, and I would argue that this point, losing this point for Yue, hurts more than if she had hit a winner right off the bat, because those were 6 sprints, highly intense sprints that she had to do, and they will cost her some energy in the end. There we have it, 19 sprints for Yuan, 11 for Swiatek.
Good length there, maybe the previous rally, taking a little bit out of her.
See, Nick, on that forehand, the one thing I've noticed, especially courtside, because I'm on the side of where Iga, when she hits the forehand, I think she gets her front leg planted too early when she misses the forehand. When she has the open stance, she doesn't miss that forehand anywhere near as much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Which does what, Renee, in terms of technically? Try and break that down for us a little more.
Yeah, so when she's open stance, she's hitting the ball. She has almost a little bit more time and she can put more shape on the forehand. When she gets the front foot early down, she covers the forehand too early. And so for me, that's why she's so good on clay. She's more open stanced.
Just actually double-checked, and I've gone through each of Iga's first round matches at the majors. She's only played one match at a major in the first round that was longer than this one. And that, in fact, was her very first one here in 2019. That was 2 hours and 2 minutes. This one, though, may not make the 2-hour mark. We may be just shy. Because the pole has found her way to match point.
Yes.
Not quite yet.
Yeah, look at this shrug as well after this miss. Way to make the space.
Advantage, Swiatek.
There's always going to be a backhand. A testing opener for Iga Swiatek on the Rod Laver Arena. Wasn't at her best tonight. Work to be done, undoubtedly, as she chases history here in Melbourne. 2 hours exactly. And Swiatek is through to the second round.